I've done a lot of content in support of Karmelo Anthony. I've been very vocal and loud about my support for him. And like I said, when I'm wrong, I will admit that I'm wrong. But this is not one of those cases.
You wake up to breaking news. Not a rumor, not speculation, but hard, visual proof. A chilling piece of surveillance footage that flips everything you thought you knew about the case. Karmelo Anthony's parents, already under the public microscope, are now the center of a bombshell development. They've officially been indicted, and it's not just based on hearsay. It's because someone found a camera, and that camera didn't blink. The footage, time-stamped and verified, reportedly shows both parents in a restricted area just minutes before the crime took place. The camera, mounted high above a service entrance near the Metcalf residence, captured them stepping out of a dark SUV. One of them glances toward the lens, unaware it's rolling. The other is holding something, a black bag that prosecutors now believe contained the very weapon used in the killing. You don't hear audio, but you see movement, swift, purposeful, calculated. Prosecutors played the footage in court, and the silence that followed was deafening. Even Karmelo, who had once defended their innocence publicly, didn't flinch. He stared at the floor, hands clenched, no visible reaction, as if he knew this was coming. Inside the courtroom, the energy shifted. Reporters stopped typing. The jury leaned forward. One woman in the back audibly whispered, "That's them?" The prosecution let the footage loop again and again. No voiceover, no narration, just images doing the talking. And now people are asking, why were they even there? What were they carrying? And most importantly, how did no one know about this footage until now? If you were on that jury, would you already be convinced? Or is this just one piece in a much bigger, darker puzzle? You're sitting in the courtroom, and the video has just ended. The prosecution doesn't speak. They let the weight of what everyone just saw linger. The judge breaks the silence only to say, "Let the record show. Exhibit 47 has been entered into evidence." But no one's really listening to her words. Their eyes are glued to Karmelo's parents, whose faces have gone pale. And just when you think things can't escalate any further, the lead investigator steps forward. He's holding a printed still from the footage, a single frame zoomed in on the exact moment Karmelo's mother hands off the black bag. "We confirmed the bag was never recovered," he says, "but we believe what was inside was the murder weapon." He then drops another bombshell. A witness has come forward. Someone who worked night shifts at a nearby gas station claims he saw the same SUV parked in the alley, engine running, around the same time. "I didn't think anything of it," the man told detectives, "until I saw their faces all over the news." Suddenly, the entire courtroom turns toward Karmelo. Cameras flash. He doesn't cry. He doesn't speak. He just grips the edge of the table, tight enough to turn his knuckles white. Social media explodes with side-by-side comparisons of the surveillance footage and prior interviews, where Karmelo claimed his parents were nowhere near the scene. Old tweets resurface. Statements unravel. Trust evaporates. And now people are wondering, did Karmelo know this footage existed? Or worse, did he lie to protect them? If this was your child, caught between truth and loyalty, what would you have done? Tell the world the truth, or protect your parents, no matter the cost? You can hear the tension in the courtroom before the next piece of evidence even drops. It's that eerie silence, the kind that makes every throat clear, every chair shift feel deafening. Then, the bailiff wheels in a cart stacked with labeled boxes. Inside, dozens of time-stamped screenshots pulled directly from the security footage. A prosecutor holds one up. It's grainy, but clear enough. A figure in a hoodie pacing outside the back exit of the building where the murder happened. Another still shows the same figure pulling out a phone. "We cross-referenced the time with cell tower pings," the prosecutor says, his voice calm but cold. The phone belonged to Karmelo's father. The room reacts all at once. One juror gasps. A reporter's pen drops. Even the defense looks shaken. But then comes the twist. The defense attorney rises, walks slowly to the screen, and clicks to the next frame. "This," he says, pointing, "is not definitive proof of intent. My client was simply waiting for a ride." That one sentence lights the fuse online. Comment sections explode. Everyone becomes an armchair detective. People rewind the clip, enhance the footage, slow it down, trying to see if there's anything else. A hand gesture, a shadow, something they missed. Meanwhile, a former security consultant posts a thread going viral. If this man wasn't involved, why didn't he call the police when the attack began 8 minutes later? That post alone racks up 4 million views in 12 hours. The Anthony family hasn't released a statement, but the silence is loud, so now it's your turn. If you were on that jury and saw the footage, felt the weight in the room, read the internet frenzy, would you believe this was just coincidence? Or would your gut scream something darker? You're sitting in the gallery when the prosecution plays the full video clip. The lights dim, the footage starts. It's night, a quiet parking lot. You see a figure, tall, hoodie pulled low, approach the back entrance of the victim's apartment. The timestamp flashes, 10:42 p.m., less than 10 minutes before the murder. Then, just moments later, a second figure enters the frame. This one's shorter, walks differently, but unmistakably holding something in her hand. The prosecution freezes the frame, enhances, clarifies. It's Karmelo Anthony's mother. A loud inhale ripples through the courtroom. Some people shake their heads. One woman puts her hand to her chest. The defense doesn't object. They can't. The footage is authenticated, and the timeline is damning. The prosecutor doesn't yell. He doesn't need to. He just asks the room, why were they both there at that time, on that night, with no logical explanation? That silence hits harder than any accusation. But online, the reaction is anything but quiet. TikToks break down her walking path. Reddit users trace the route from their home to the crime scene. A former homicide detective even posts a frame-by-frame breakdown saying, no one just wanders there at that hour. This wasn't random. And then comes the voice message. The prosecution reveals that moments before entering the alleyway, the mother sent a voice memo to an unknown contact. It's time. He's on his way out. The courtroom erupts. Now here's what people are wondering. If this was your mother, your father, and you saw them, clear as day, on that tape, would you still believe in their innocence? Or would you question everything you thought you knew? You're sitting there stunned because the defense finally stands up to respond. But instead of denying the footage, they pivot. The lawyer clears his throat and says, being caught on camera doesn't prove intent. It proves presence, and presence is not a crime. That line shifts the entire mood in the courtroom. The defense continues. This footage shows two people walking. There is no weapon visible, no act committed. You are filling in blanks the prosecution hasn't proven. You glance around the room. Some jurors lean forward. One raises an eyebrow. Others exchange glances, not of agreement, but of uncertainty. The defense has planted a seed. Then they play their video. It's a home security clip from across the street. Grainier, less clear, but time-stamped the same night. It shows a third figure, unknown, hooded, lurking just out of frame minutes before the crime. Why aren't they on trial? The defense asks. Outside the courthouse, this new footage sends the internet into another frenzy. Comment sections split into two factions, one demanding immediate conviction, another suddenly hesitant, saying, wait, what if they were set up? One Redditor claims to recognize the third figure from earlier footage weeks before. Another insists the body language of the mother doesn't look like someone planning a murder. She's pacing, they write. She looks nervous. And as public pressure mounts, the question becomes bigger than guilt or innocence. Because now people are wondering, if this goes to trial and they walk free, how much will the court of public opinion punish them anyway? You wake up the next morning to a headline that feels like a punch to the gut. Prosecutors admit key evidence may have been mishandled. It's all over the news. The footage that showed Karmelo's parents near the scene is still valid, but a new revelation casts doubt on how it was obtained. According to an internal memo leaked overnight, the original drive was accessed by an unapproved staff member before being officially submitted into evidence. Now the defense is arguing chain of custody violations. Inside the courtroom, tensions reach a boiling point. One of the prosecution's lead investigators is called to testify. He wipes sweat from his forehead and avoids eye contact with the jury. How can we trust anything you've presented if the most critical video was tampered with? The defense fires. The room goes silent. Even the judge pauses, then leans forward. Answer the question, he says. The investigator stammers. It wasn't tampered with, Your Honor. Just viewed prematurely. Viewers outside aren't buying it. On X, hashtags like #JusticeForMetcalf trend, alongside #FreeTheAnthonys, both sides fueling the fire. Conspiracy theories explode. One user claims the mishandling was intentional sabotage by someone inside the department trying to protect a public figure. Another uploads a breakdown video analyzing the pixel quality of the footage, arguing it may have been compressed or altered. And just as the chaos peaks, something chilling happens. An anonymous email is sent to every major news outlet. It says there's more footage, and the public hasn't seen it yet. The email ends with one sentence: "You've only seen what they want you to see." Now people are wondering, if this next video surfaces, will it clear the parents or destroy them completely? You're back in court when the final twist lands. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. The prosecution walks in holding a small black USB. No theatrics, no announcement. Just a quiet exchange with the clerk and a nod to the judge. The courtroom stills. Everyone knows what this is. The missing footage. The clip the anonymous email warned about. Lights dim. The screen flickers. The footage begins outside a convenience store, time-stamped just 2 hours before the murder. It's grainy, surveillance style, but unmistakable. Karmelo's father, alone, handing off a small bag to someone in a hoodie. The figure takes it, then disappears behind a dumpster. 30 seconds later, Karmelo's mother enters the frame from a different angle, and both of them vanish into a car waiting just out of view. No words, no obvious weapon, but the implication hits everyone in the gut. The judge ends court for the day. No reactions allowed, no outbursts. But outside, it's a storm, crying at the courthouse steps. "This isn't justice," one woman whispers into her phone. "This is a horror movie." And online, the questions now turn existential. If that was just 2 hours before the murder, what else haven't they shown us? Was this a coordinated hit? Was Karmelo's silence part of a larger deal? You close the app, heart racing. The trial hasn't even reached the verdict, but in the eyes of the public, it already has.